Crafter here with another tutorial on doing a easel card, simple easel card, and we're going to be doing some ink blending and some die cutting for this. So stay tuned if you want to watch or if you want to actually make it. The first things we're going to do is create the background for the bottom of the card and the inking of the front of the card. I'm using this Creative Expressions embossing folder. It's just got lots of snowflakes on. I did try to run it through my MIDI. It squished it a little bit there. It did not like it. When it came out, the paper was completely rippled, so I can't really use that. So what I'm going to do is run this through the Gemini and then I shall be back with you. So I've run this through the Gemini, didn't like it at all. It's ruined my embossing folder there, which is upsetting somewhat. I thought that the Gemini could go through them all. I'm guessing when I've used this previously, I've used my Big Shot, so that's what I'm going to have to really keep with. But I've lost a part of my embossing folder now. This can still be used for the card, but I am really upset that this did this, and I literally only had was the two Gemini cutting plates, the clear plates. That's it. There was nothing else I put in there, and it's completely squished this corner as well. So definitely note to self, do not be using these embossing folders in the machine. Maybe I got the sandwich wrong, I don't know. I've just trimmed down this edge because I don't want it all that catching whilst we're inking this up. I'm just going to take some plain paper, because this is how I like to do my blending, to be honest. It can just be chucked away, or I can use it for other backgrounds as well, so save chucking it away. And then I'm going to use the Spectrum Noir Harmony ink, water reactive ink pads, and we've got Plum Jam, Fuchsia and Bordeaux, and these are the three colours we're just going to put over both pieces of cardstock, blending them in. So I'm going to start with the lighter one first. I could have actually done this before embossing it, but I did want a paler background. I really wanted these snowflakes to stand out more. I'm just like putting this in spasmodic places really. I'm not really thinking about it. And this fuchsia's lovely. I'm wanting more of a darker feel though. So I'm going to actually put more of the Bordeaux on than any of the other colours. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want it more looking a red colour than a pink colour. Obviously we are using pinks, but that's only because I haven't really got that many reds. And this is the closest to red of a watery ink I've got. Definitely got to get some more. So I'm quite happy with how that is for now, but what I want to do is just spritz it with some water, and all I'm going to do is take my Tim Holtz Distress sprayer. I'm just going to pour some in my hand and then splatter it down. So I'm going to leave that for a second or two, and then I'm just going to come in with some kitchen roll and just pat that off, and this will remove some of that ink. I really feel like it's showing up too well on this one. Maybe it's because it is got the embossing on it. But when we do the plain piece in a minute, then that will be good to go. And then we're just going to repeat that step just on this plain piece of card. I do recommend using a post-it note when you do this, just because these are water reactive inks. There is moisture on your hands and it will take off the ink off, so you just don't want to be wasting your time really. Just like I say, just doing this in a spasmodic way. I'm not really thinking about it, just plonking colour on wherever I want it to go. going to go over with the Bordeaux over the whole thing just to try and blend out that pink, so it's not a star. Just like I said, I do want this card looking more red toned than I do pink tones, so I'm not putting any extra ink on my dauber piece. I'm just using what's actually on there. So we're just going to do the water reaction thing again. You probably think I'm a bit crazy clapping, but it just actually gives different splodges. So I've got a big splodge from when I've gone right down like that, and then I've got little splodges when I've done the clapping. So that's why I was doing the clapping. I'm not going crazy. That's sat for a few seconds. I'm just going to remove it. I'm going to let this dry for now, just to give it that time so that when we die cut it, it doesn't spoil. So I do actually want this to be dry, so we're going to leave it for there for now and we're back in a sec. This is the die we're going to be using. It's from Crafter's Companion and it's called Interchangeable Snowflake Frames, and you can change all three of the sentiments. If I just put this on directly, it will leave this as a frame, which you can do it that way. But if I then add in this square, it will cut that out, and that's what I want. I want the whole thing cut out. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually where I'm happy with the majority of this paper, that's where I'm going to put this square. And that really does give me a nice piece of every bit of colour going in. And then this obviously is square, so this really doesn't matter. So I'm just going to place that inside. And then we want to be taking some tacky tape or washi tape and put this in place, as we don't want it to move when we put it through the machine. I still, even with this tacky tape, I always put it over my clothes as well, just because I do feel like it can tear the cardstock sometimes, and especially when we've inked up the cardstock. Put it on my jumper like that. Pull it off and put it back on a couple of times, and this just puts fibres on the tape itself. Now we're happy with that in place, I'm going to take our midi and put this through the midi machine. Just take this off and remove that tape, and I literally just normally place that on top of there because it's still good to go for the next time round. So I feel like this die really could have come into its own by having another like plain star just to cut out the aperture there, so we could have had this out as well. I really do feel like if I'd have had a star, that's what I would have done, and we're going to be doing another step using another colour cardstock just to try and give that effect. So I'm just going to put this spot to one side and get rid of all of the bits in between. But the one thing I do love about this die cut is all the snowflakes, and I literally keep all the snowflakes in a tub that this achieves, and then I've got little extra embellishments then just for any other cards as well as this card as well. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually cut out this sentiment all by itself. We're not going to put it in the centre of the die, and you'll see why. And all I'm going to do is run this through my Gemini, and then I shall be back in a second. While that through, we're just going to remove it very gently, and we can get rid of the die, and then we just want to pop out all the little bits. What I'm going to do is make my own frame by just going in, kind of fussy cutting if you like. And this is why I'm saying, like, I feel like it would have been so much nicer to actually have that extra die in here to save all this. And there we have it cut out. I have got a couple of bits, it's a bit wider, so I'm just going to trim them up a little bit more. What I'm going to do is cut a piece of red cardstock from Crafter's Companion, and I've cut this to 14 centimetres by 14 centimetres, and then we're going to glue on our centre piece that we cut out earlier on. When you are gluing this, it is very delicate, so I'm just going to like try to get around the edges as much as I can, and then I can just go in around the snowflake bits with dabs of glue. Right, and then we're going to just try to get this as level as we can. I can already see I'm off. Luckily we're using wet adhesive, so that gives us that chance to manipulate. Now all I'm going to do is run this mirror card just so I can get that impression of that star, because I want a gold star in the centre. So I'm going to run that against my Gemini and I'll be back. So I've run that through, and all I'm going to do is follow those embossing lines and cut it. All I want to do now is glue this in to there, and then glue it onto the card. I'm just going to remove this adhesive as much as I possibly can. What I really could have done with was a dotted tape pen from Crafter's Companion, because they're meant to be really good for this type of thing. So that's the base, the main bit of our card done. Now let's get on with the rest of it. So I've decided I don't actually want this rim around this. I want to have a gold rim to bring in the gold from the star. So I'm going to just trim that off using my paper trimmer and lining it up. I'm just going to take this gold card. Yeah, I think that definitely looks so much better. What do you guys think? Yeah, so when that dries off, trim that down, but while that's drying we can crack on with the rest of the card. I'm just going to take my card base, and this is a 6x6 or 15x15 card base, but it will be once it's folded over. And all I'm going to do is line up, I don't know if the camera will be able to see, but I'm lining up this corner here to this corner there, and I'm using that black line I've put in my scoreboard to help. I ended up having to actually cut my card base down because I could have put another layer of the red, I guess, as another matting layer, but it weren't, so it was too big, the card. So now this card measures 13.5 by 13.5, which obviously makes sense because the gold is 13.5 by 13.5. I'm actually going to glue the card itself rather than the topper. I'm just going to marry up that bottom corner with the card itself. Pick it up if you need to, which I do. And I'm literally squaring it off with my fingers there, if that makes sense. And then once I'm happy in position, I'm just going to gently rub over because we don't want these letters moving. That's the top half of the card done. Now we've got to do the matting and layering on here. Cut a gold piece, and now we're going to be cutting this piece, what we made earlier on. And I'm going to cut this to 12 centimetres. So I'm just going to mat and layer that on. I've now got a nice gold film, a nice gold edging on there, and I'm going to use some wet glue because of the divots in the paper as well. So we need to make the stopper for the card so it stays up, and I'm just going to be using these two dies. I'm really sorry guys, I took the packaging, I've no idea where they come from, if it was gifted to me, I really have no idea. So what I'm going to do is one in gold and then one in red. We've cut those out, and all I'm going to do is pop some foam pads underneath, but I'm going to put them both underneath both of them just because these are just cheap ones from the pound shop and they're quite thin. So I want it to be able to have a proper ledge. So I want to work out where I actually want it. Do I want it on an angle like that, which I feel like I do actually. Oops. I'm going to bob that down there like so, and then we're going to put this red one on top of that. So just marrying it up. So normally I would decorate this up and I'd probably use something like these snowflakes, put quite a few of these on in the different colours, minus the red obviously. But this is for my friend and she wants me to put the lady's name on it, and I'm not too sure of the lady's name as yet. I need to message her. So we're just going to leave that bit for now, and then we just want to add a bit more sparkle, I think, because you can't have Christmas without sparkle. I'm just going to add some of these gems that I've had for donkey's years, just to add that extra bit of bling. I'm just going to place them in different places on the card. I'm using my crystal katana to pick them up. So this is the finished card, guys. I hope you enjoyed doing this card with me and watching me. If you do, I'd really appreciate some feedback. If there's anything you think I can improve on, then please, I do really want your feedback on that as well, negative or not. On this card, I am going to go back in. I can still see some of that adhesive, so I need to get in with a finer rubber just so I don't damage the letters, because I'm not really happy about that. But apart from that, then this card is completed, apart from the name obviously. And yeah, so hopefully I shall see you in the next video, and take care. Bye.